Hey everybody, this is my first video on data, AI, and quant. What's on my mind today is just thinking about kind of the vast array of things that you can do in your business using technology. And I tend to think of it using the end result rather than the tool. But I find that that may be confusing for people too, because not all of those end results are the same. Some of them do depend on the tool, but also because there is so much information out there that is focused on the tool. Obviously, because people are spending tens of billions of dollars to develop the tool. When they reference the things they're doing, they are not going to just talk about the outcome. They're going to primarily focus on the tool because they want revenue or mind share or something, something eventually leading to revenue, value in some cases for their money, for their investment. That makes total sense, but it is somewhat confusing. So, for example, if I talk about automation and process automation, you might assume that I'm talking about something other than ChatGPT or LLMs or artificial intelligence or AI, right? But it is one way to think about what's going on with AI is automation. I mean, enhancement is also another word. Enhanced search or enhanced content creation is another thing to think about. But I think it's always important to, if you're going to be using these things, if you want to get out there and make your business run better, or you're just a person that wants to use tools that make your life better, or if you're an inventor, somebody who wants to build something brand new, I do think it's relevant. I think it's better for us, the users of the technology, the builders of the technology, and to think about not think about the end result rather than the tool. This is a bias that comes to me from spending 8 years in the dot-com boom, where there was a lot of hype about the tools, and a lot of that turned out to be, some of the tools turned out to be amazing. I think like the fact that Linux kind of gained wide adoption through that and was amazing. The internet protocol itself is obviously amazing, but ultimately there were a lot of other things that got a lot of hype that did not end up working. And so I think it was helpful for me to switch over to a thing where I think what is the outcome that you're looking for. So when I think of outcomes, I think about automation, and I also think about customization. So I think about building marketing, entertainment, and communications that are for branding and for branding that are customized either to an individual or customized to a richly customized, right? So not just kind of their name in it or the particular product they're looking for, but rich customization, images that are customized for them, branding, look and feel, kind of branding, kind of culture that's customized for them, or entertainment that's customized for me. And I think that might be interesting. It might not be, right? It might turn out that that's not a moneymaker, but it's interesting to me. So when I think of customization, when I think of LLMs, I do think of I also think of prediction as another outcome. So customization, automation, and prediction. Automation, I should say, is kind of heavily, for me, biased towards what you might see in Automate This, which is a book about automation, which is about how floor brokers in stock trading and options trading actually were replaced by algorithms and matching engines. So that's what I'm thinking about when I think about automation. But it goes beyond that. But it but certainly starts there. What Interactive Brokers did, because I spent 10 years there. And then I think so automation, customization, mass customization, rich customization, and then the other thing I think about is prediction. So prediction exists, predates LLMs. Kind of you have a bunch of points and you draw a line through it. So if it's two-dimensional, you draw a line through it and you use that to kind of predict the future. That's a very common thing people have been doing for who knows how long, maybe 1,000 years, maybe more. But certainly since the 1980s, people have used prediction to figure out mostly the relationship between stock prices, not stock prices themselves. So, you might think that you can predict the stock price, and maybe there is some of that, but mostly it's relationship between stock prices, one price and another, meaning a hedged price, right? So you can think of it as pairs trading, you think of it as hedged prices. I don't think that is particularly, I don't think that's changed. That is a very fascinating field, and one of the reasons it's fascinating is because prediction, or really predictive analytics, or science, really using science on all kinds of things that aren't like physics, for example, allows you to do more kinds of automation, because a lot of the things you want to do in automation are kind of trying to understand what's going on in a certain situation so you can do the right thing. And even though that's not always prediction, it's kind of it's roughly the same math, right? So prediction is, interestingly, has been thought to be an AI, something you could do with AI for a really long time. And it isn't, AI tends to be better at classification and now kind of text generation and things like that. But it hasn't been, as far as I know, and trust me, this means, I really mean that, like if it was, we wouldn't necessarily know about it, but it hasn't been spectacularly successful in asset price prediction, asset trading. It hasn't done quite as well. And there is a bit of, there are reasons why that's the case. I don't understand all of them, but people seem to be making progress on that. And some of them are simple enough that even I can understand them. But without more, but we anticipate that there'll be some point at which LLMs and neural networks will, maybe there'll be a modified version of these things that is good at prediction. But they're still relevant. Things like AI are relevant to prediction because they can be used to turn unstructured data into something more structured, which can then feed a predictive model, a normal predictive model. And so even though it's not what you'd think it was, I'm spending a lot more time on prediction than probably is relevant, but it just happens to be something I have been working on for with other people and been around people who work on it for like 20 plus years, and I find interesting. But that is one thing that's interesting. When you think about like a fully automated car, for example, there are a lot of things in there that are kind of rough. They're classification, and then there's some things that are prediction. And even though you're not really trying to predict the future, they kind of look like prediction, and some of those work very, very well. And but then in asset pricing, they and until recently have not worked very well, and may still not be working well. There may be somebody somewhere that's getting them to work and certainly wouldn't be telling anybody. So I'm interested in kind of those three kinds of outcomes, or four. I guess there are four. Like, let's say, yeah. Anyway, whatever you count them up, and I'm interested in all the different tools that are used to do those things. So, yeah, for sure, generative AI, and for sure, large language models, LLMs, and for sure, neural networks generally. But also, I'm especially interested in data processing, data acquisition, reliability, and things like that. But I'm also interested in old-fashioned quantum prediction tools like random forest or even linear regression. I'm still interested in those. They're still hard. Also, kind of more complicated nonlinear models, but that don't, aren't as quite as opaque to us. There's some solutions for that opacity, maybe, but that aren't quite as opaque to us. I'm interested in all those tools. I have actually a special interest in infrastructure because absent a good, there's really a giant difference between the outcomes you get from good infrastructure versus bad infrastructure. And by that, I mean the business outcome primarily, although it's true that you might also get a better absolute prediction, but the business outcome, like actually making money from the thing, it turns out like in the right infrastructure, it's almost like money's lying around on the ground. And then with the wrong infrastructure, it's like there's no possible way to make it work for you. So I'm interested in all those things. Anyway, this is kind of an introduction, kind of, I think deliberately kind of random, because I don't want to I would like to have a more organized version of this in writing eventually, but I don't think it's a bad idea to capture kind of the kind of interrelationships, which are really hard, I think, are easier to capture in this format, and kind of how kind of soft and how kind of interrelated and stuff is. So I'm not seeing this as kind of a chance for me to repeat what I have written down or will write down, but it's more of a for a different kind of experience of learning. And I hope no idea if you find it helpful, but it will certainly be I think it's relevant to kind of make that, and you also get this. It's more personal because you can see me, and you kind of you can capture kind of where I'm uncertain and where I'm not uncertain through the tone of my voice.